That doesn't bother me.
It could bother some people. I see somebody nodding behind you.
It would offend my mother, and and because of that, I'd probably rather that people don't use it.
Right. So basically, if there are no women that watch MMA, then you're right. It probably could not offend anybody.
Since there are, I guess.
But there's a lot of women MMA fans.
Right?
It's just as offensive as faggot.
Well, I think the fact that, I mean, if you use a racial slur or a homophobic slur,
sure.
you are attacking, indirectly attacking millions of people. Potentially. Anyway, he went and off on this blog, and he was using all this crazy language and stuff. So then what happened, Chris?
I think it was GLAAD. Is it GLAAD that the Gay and Lesbian Society or whatever, that they had a lot to say to Dana. He ended up getting some trouble with them, had to apologize and stuff like that. As Dana tells it, he was told to apologize, and that's why he apologized.
So he was told to apologize. He apologizes, and at the end of his apology...
So it's an apology at the beginning of a blog.
Correct.
At the end of that same blog, he calls some people retards. Did you notice that?
I did not catch that.
He's hitting a whole new group. He's hitting a whole new group of people that can now be offended by him.
He comes out and he says, I would hate for anyone to think that I'm the type of person who would be offensive to an entire group of people. And then he ends up going, you two retards. And I mean, again, we're using language as an example, and I hope it doesn't offend anyone.
No, we're quoting it as it pertains to a particular story.
I wouldn't want to offend anyone, but
and I qualify for at least two of those three groups.
Yes, you are a cunt, and clearly you're handicapped. So,
yes.
So he ends his apology blog with another blog. Look it up. Go look up the apology blog. It's about 40 seconds, and then there's a blog of him at UFC 96 or 90, whatever it was, walking around, and at the end he uses the term retard.
So I'm just wondering, what percentage of the population do you have to offend before it really becomes a problem?
Yeah.
So now there's some articles that are floating around saying that he's going to be getting a little bit less FaceTime with the public.
That's the word, yeah.
Now, is that really true, or is this just more bullshit floating around? Because people are just going to write whatever, or is it really the case? Chris?
I mean, they're saying that now, but I think it'd be kind of stupid to cut him off completely, just because it was kind of a cool insight into each show, because he did it, he'd do it for a week leading up to the big pay-per-views and shit like that. So I think it'd be stupid to kind of cut it off, but you never know. He does kind of let his tongue get him in trouble sometimes.
So hang on just 1 second. So, because the groups that he's offended are actually the smallest percentage, potentially, that watch the UFC.
I don't know if that's true.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Maybe he's secretly trying to build an audience by offending a whole bunch of groups that he feels aren't the highest percentage of current watchers. So then that way they get all offended. Then they watch and get impressed by the incredible show that the UFC puts on. Is this marketing genius, or is he just a giant douchebag?
You're a douchebag.
I think he's just one of those guys that just says whatever comes out of his mouth and doesn't think about it beforehand. That's but I mean, it could be some strategic marketing as well. You never know.
I think you're right. I think he literally has said and done whatever he's wanted for so long with no repercussions for his actions ever, that he's like a child,
But not only that,
I think that's kind of cool.
He's also making so much money now that he really just kind of feels, maybe this is me guessing, he feels a little untouchable, a little indestructible, a little bit like no one can touch him, right?
But that's what we like about the character. Like, that's why we do want to see what the guy says, and we want him on the Ultimate Fighter show, and we want to see his blogs and stuff, because
for sure. He's pure entertainment.
Yeah, he's a... Hey, we all were curious about Don King too. You know what I mean?
Except the thing is, Don King isn't a character. He's only a character in the fact that you hear stories and he murdered a couple of people and got away with it.
That's pretty cool.
But so that's not bad. So he's kind of like in the O.J. Simpson camp. But at the same time,
O.J.
Yeah, but at the same exactly. You're just shouting out. But
shout out to O.J.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a quick shout out to O.J.
And the new Sacha Baron Cohen movie.
Yeah.
So but the deal is they really do have the best show in MMA, and still Dana White can do whatever he wants, and it looks like very little repercussions. He did a small apology and then offended a new group.
Yeah.
And he keeps on trucking. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having that deal. I wouldn't mind offending a bunch of people and then small apology, keep moving.
Yeah.
And keep making shitloads of money.
For sure.
Shitloads of money. He'll still be on pay-per-view and Spike TV and all over. He'll be everywhere.
And I'm still buying the pay-per-views, no problem.
Sure. I'm going to the next UFC in Montreal.
Oh, that's a good point.
And Chris, check it out. I think I've got a media pass.
Don't say that, because then they might pull it on you, man,
Yeah.
because you've been slamming Dana.
Yeah, I'm not slamming Dana. I think he's awesome. What are you talking about?
You better hope they don't see this.
Yeah. Everybody's seeing this.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be out in the cold with
Yeah.
no
You know what
But
the
I'm
good
actually
news is?
writing for the National Post, which is, I mean, this isn't a 100% done deal, so I probably shouldn't talk about it. But I might be writing for a large newspaper, Canadian newspaper. Which
You
is,
totally just killed yourself. Now you
think?
will not get the media
I
pass.
will get it.
Now Robin's only going to be sitting on the floors right by the ring, and then I'm
Upper
going to be
bowl,
in the
it's so
500
big.
level.
Yeah.
At the very back of the stadium, because that's how we roll.
That's how we roll. So anything else going on, Chris? Anything on your plate? Anything you've been interested in?
I mean, right now we have we're going to be launching a new design of the website that should be coming up soon, so that should be interesting. It's going to kind of mix MMA world with a little bit of social networking and such, so it should be kind of neat for people to.
Yeah, and you showed me the framework for that, and it looks totally awesome. And it makes your current site look like crap.
Well, I mean, the design we have now, it's kind of old. It's been around for a while, so it's time to bring a new design out and get some love back.
Okay, and real quickly before we move on to what Robin wants to talk about, because I know he's got something on the edge. You interviewed Matt Hughes not long ago. Want to just quickly tell that story, because apparently he's a bit of a dickhead.
Well, the Hughes interview, that was actually, when was it? It was before he fought St. Pierre. He was supposed to fight Sarah at UFC 97, I think. No, not 97, shit. 77.
80.
It was in December, whichever one was in December.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, it was before the fight. This was right before he was still scheduled to fight Sarah. And more or less, I was interviewing him. I mean, we got the Sarah questions out of the way. We talked a little bit about that. And I kind of brought up the topic of George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva. Next thing I know, the phone's dead. Not returning my phone calls, not returning my voicemails. I think I might have pissed him off a little bit. But
Why do you think
he hung up on you?
He hung up on you. Why? Because you mentioned those guys as being pound for pound best, or what?
Well, he didn't really want to. He didn't really want to talk about them because this was after St. Pierre was after he was after getting knocked out by St. Pierre, and I guess that's when they were 1-1. So there would have been the opportunity for the rubber match. So I guess he didn't really want to talk about that. At the end of the day, a month later, he got beat up again. So,
yeah. Did you read his book?
I have not read his book, no.
There's a thing in it about how him and his twin brother tag team this girl. And, he gets kind of descriptive about it. And then he goes on to say, and 2 years later, that girl would become my wife.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Him and his brother tag team a chick?
Yeah, and later Matt Hughes married her.
Oh, wow.
I could be paraphrasing it. It might not be exact, but that's the kind of thing that's in his book. It's weird.
You know what? That's actually probably going to make me run out and not actually buy the book,
but
borrow it off you.
Yeah, okay.
Because you obviously have several copies at home that you masturbate to.
Yes. No,
audio book. Look for the audio book.
What? I just heard today from a source. We have sources now. That
anonymous sources, because I won't repeat it for fear of Glad getting pissed at me. But.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's an anonymous source.
It's an anonymous source. That Josh Barnett has been mentioned. It's been mentioned to him that yes, he may be fighting Fedor still at the summer card for Affliction, or that he might be fighting Arlovsky. Have you heard this?
I mean, there's always been rumors of Fedor and Barnett. I don't know if it's a
well, of course.
No. But what about Arlovsky?
But Arlovsky, have you heard that's going around as being discussed right now?
The last thing I heard about Arlovsky was that he's he was supposed to do some boxing, I believe. But I haven't heard the Barnett and Arlovsky rumor.
Okay, and Robin, when did you hear that?
Today. Yeah.
And who did you hear that from?
I heard it from somebody that Barnett told directly that it was mentioned to him as a possibility. So
that's a pretty solid source, man.
That doesn't mean it's happening because he was saying
he was told that's a possibility.
I mean, it's a likely fight, definitely. If Barnett doesn't fight Fedor,
that would be a good fight, right? Yeah. But then who would fight Fedor is the real question.
Yeah. I don't know. Who are they? Who is he talking about Buentello fighting on our show? Do you remember? I forget.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's a while ago.
I got a cold.
That's like 2 weeks ago.
I need to get some Canestin.
That was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
I heard you were sending your intern for that. How's the intern?
Yeah. I've got an intern at Extreme Couture Toronto.
Holy cow! Now we're talking about Robin again.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Don't encourage him.
We're gonna actually next week maybe we'll bring him to be our intern on the show. So we'll get him to go do stuff for us, answer the phones, go online.
But don't actually allow his image on the air.
No, we won't.
So that
You'll
way
see
he's just servicing.
Yeah,
just his arm will be coming in.